She hates to be reminded of that. I'm sorry. Let's stop this. I don't want to fight with you. I don't want to argue with you for the rest of the time I'm alive. I don't want to argue with you either. But let me just say one thing. You're my friend. I don't want my friend to tell me not to expect too much of my life. I'll apologize for that. But you must respect my opinion too. No, you can have your opinions. I still would rather you not tell me that it doesn't fucking matter. Everything I do doesn't matter. I'm going to die. Every fucking day. She can be very stubborn sometimes. She seems weak on the outside, but she actually has very strong rules within her, and she would never compromise them. She apologized to me, but that was not truthful. She's still not expecting anything good from this world. She still thinks that I'm going to die pitifully. That's why she's not going to believe in miracles. I've been with her long enough to read her mind. Probably. I feel bad for her in a sense. She's been living too long and lost all of her hopes. She tells me to call her if anything happens and disappears. I'm sure she's still around. Obviously. She's probably still watching me, as if she's watching a TV show. The time of my death is slowly approaching. Will I be able to survive this time? It's been a long time since I faced this fear without drinking wine. God, I need my wine. I had nothing to do after I finished washing dishes and cleaning the room. The mountain hounds and police are protecting me. All I can do is something for Satoko, just in case I die. Should I write down some recipes for her in the notebook? Will she be happy if I leave a will for her? No! The fuck, that's a really fucking morbid. I laugh at myself. No one would be happy to read a will. If I die, they'll be devastated. And they'll be devastated and wonder why I didn't talk to them, especially if you knew beforehand. That's exactly how I felt when Satoko didn't ask for any help when she was abused by her uncle. I wonder if I'll be killed before Satoko comes home. My memory of this day is not very clear. My memory of the day of my death is always vague. It's okay if I'm dead before she's home. But what if I get killed after she comes home? Is she going to get killed along with me? I don't want that to happen. I'll take all the tragedy. It would be so sad if Satoko was also killed with me, along with me. Always killed along with me. It's actually, believe it or not, it would be better that way than her having to deal with the grief of you dying. Believe it or not. Well, at least to her, in her opinion, it would be. I'd rather live, personally, but that's just me. I've been ignoring other people's sadness because I was preoccupied by the fact that I'm getting killed. I feel ashamed of myself now. I turn on the TV to get away from the silence, but it doesn't help at all. I feel lonelier because the TV is not reacting to my feelings. It's as if the TV is Hanyu, watching me with no emotion. It's past lunchtime. It's almost 3 p.m. School should be out soon. They wouldn't have the club activity because I'm not there. That means Satoko will be home soon. It looks like I'm going to survive until she comes home. Or not. If she comes home and asks me what's troubling me, I might talk to her. If I talk to someone, that person will be demoned away by the mountain hounds. That's why I never spoke to someone. I didn't want my friends to get in trouble. But if Satoko is going to be killed, she's doomed to share my fate. It's better to know the truth than to be killed without knowing what's going on. Yeah, I guess. But I'm under very strict security right now. That's true. They tapped your phones. I might be able to survive in this world. If that's the case, I shouldn't talk to Satoko about it. I just can't talk to my friends after all. Yeah. Moments later, I hear Satoko's surprised voice from downstairs. She's back home. Sounds like she was scared because she saw a stranger in her house. I have to tell her that the police are here. That's the same thing as telling her that someone is after my life. I don't know how to explain it to her, and how much I should tell her about this. The next moment, the noise of a crowd surprises me. Satoko's not home alone. It's obviously going to be all of your friends. I'm home. Hey, Rika. What's up with that officer downstairs? Why is that guy guarding this house? What the heck did you do? Michan, that's not the right question. What happened to you, Rika? There were some strangers in the shrine yard, too. Are they also police officers? This is so unusual. We don't know what's troubling you, but we're all here to cheer you up. It looks like something bad is going on. I can't stop laughing. When everyone rushes in here, all asking the same questions. It makes me feel like I wasted my time being depressed all day today. Rika, what are you laughing about? You need to explain to us what's going on. There's nothing to explain. I'm getting murdered today. What? Everyone knew that I've been saying I will be killed, but they're surprised to hear it differently from my mouth. Directly from my mouth. Hey Rika, I heard that from you yesterday. You told me that you think someone is trying to kill you, but I thought that was just a joke. It's serious now. You have to talk to us. Keiji talks to me in an angry voice as if I made him upset. I guess he can't forgive me for not talking about my problems to my problems to my friends. But it seems like he's not the only one who is feeling that way. Everyone is looking at me with worried expressions on their faces, obviously because they care about you. Rika, you all saved me. I want to do something for my friend too. I'm glad to hear that. Remember what you told me. You told me to have the courage to fight. But look at you. You're not even fighting yourself. Sachiko points out something that I've been thinking. I have no way to argue our point. You told me that you'll get us in trouble if you talk to us. But we're already involved even though you haven't talked to us yet. That's right. We're your friends. If you're in danger, all of us are in danger too. When Satoko was in danger, we all fought for her, remember? It's the same thing. If your life is in danger, I think it's time for the Sonozaki family to step in. We're more reliable than the police. Right, sis? She's right. You have to talk to us. What kind of trouble are you in? Who the hell is threatening to kill you? Based on how you're acting, I assume you don't even know who's threatening you. If you know who it is, it's not that big of a problem. Exactly, it's a lot easier to deal with when you know who's after you. Which is why I would have figured it out beforehand. Me? You guys are so smart. You know everything, even though I haven't talked to you. I still would have talked to the Sonozaki family. Holy shit, that's easy protection. Come on. Then you have 3 layers of protection, theoretically. If the Mountain Hounds are on your side. If they are against you, they're not going to go through the Sonozaki family and the police. That's just not going to happen. This is not a time for jokes, Rika. You have to talk. What's going on? What happened to you? The police are here, so this is a huge deal. How can you talk to the police and not us? Is it something that you feel uncomfortable talking about? There's nothing uncomfortable to talk about for Rika. Calm down, Satoko. Rika is the leader of the Furude family. She's worshipped as a rebirth of Oyashiro-sama in this village. She may have been in trouble even though we didn't know about it. Maybe she didn't want to talk about it because we were trying to have a good time in this village. You know, so it has something to do with this village and Rika. It must be related to those crazy old people who worship Oyashiro-sama. So it must have something to do with the curse of Oyashiro-sama. I know. It must be related to the case of Tomitake and Takano. But why is Tomitake's death related to Rika, and why would they try to kill her? I can't make the connection. It's crazy that someone is trying to kill her anyway. I'm sure something terrible is going on, and Rika hasn't told us about it yet. I'm right, aren't I? And you can't talk to us because it's not something pleasant, right? I can't believe this. Are you serious, Rika? Are you related to the case of Tomitake's murder? I remain here with my mouth open. I haven't answered anything, but they continue to assume my issues, and they're pretty much hitting the nail on the head. Well, because it's not that hard to understand, because right after Tomitake and Takano's death, then you start saying you're gonna die, literally the next day after. It's like, come on. Well, not the next day, it's 2 days after. Well, no, she's apparently been depressed like 2 days in a row now. And so it's like, come on. Well, 3. So it's like, come on, man. We know. We know. It makes sense. It's understandable that it would be related to Oyashiro-sama's curse in some way. Some reason it's related to that issue. It's related to Tomitake and Takano's murder, obviously. Because why would it all of a sudden you're upset about it? It just doesn't make sense. So it doesn't actually, it's not hard to connect some dots. I'm surprised. These are all my loving club members. I laugh once again. My secrets and issues are so devastating. But it sounds like it's not a big deal when everyone gets together. They can guess my secrets without hearing any hints from my mouth. I realize how powerless I am. I admire the power of my friends. They're stronger than I thought. I think I can just tell them everything now. If you want me to talk, I will. But I'm sure you won't believe me. We will believe you. As long as you tell us the truth, we won't dismiss it. They're all looking at me with serious expressions on their faces. And they promise they will believe me. Just don't go spouting off alien shit. I won't believe that. Trust me. I'm gonna tell them everything. I want to see if they will really believe me or not. I'll tell you then. I think I'm being targeted by the suspect who killed Tomitake and Takano. Is that the true suspect of the mysterious deaths in this village? I don't know about that. But that's possible. I don't understand. Why would Tomitake and Takano's murderer want to kill Rika also? Oishi thinks that Takano is the suspect. Oishi's actually right for once. I mean, that is surprising. Okanogi tells me that Yurei is the suspect. Either way, it sounds like someone from Tokyo is trying to kill me. I don't know if it's Takano or Yurei, but I know that I'm like their trump card. In order to explain everything, I need to talk to them about the relationship between Hinamizawa, Tokyo, and the Yurei clinic. I don't think they would believe me. Doesn't matter. You still have to say it. This is a ridiculous story. Who would believe this if my friends won't believe it? You will be in danger if I talk about this. Are you sure you want to hear this? Of course. If you're really in danger, we're already in danger. Everyone knows at Keiichi's words. Well then, I'm going to see how everyone reacts. I'm going to ascertain what friendship is all about. I nod and begin to explain. There's a special disease in Hinamizawa. I'm not sure of the official name of that disease, but it's called the Hinamizawa syndrome. Everyone looks at each other when I mention the Hinamizawa syndrome. They've never heard of that term. I just want to know more about it. Give me a fucking report on it. The name Hinamizawa syndrome has been around since before the war. This is the general term for the severe homesickness and mental instability that people from Hinamizawa experience outside of the village. People in Hinamizawa have refused to go outside of the village since the era of Onagafuchi. The villagers believe that they'll be cursed by Oyashiro-sama if they leave the village. Also, people who have left the village often came back because they got cursed. People used to think that it was only severe homesickness, but during the war, soldiers from Hinamizawa became mentally deranged in faraway places. In war, sometimes soldiers become deranged. Yeah, PTSD. And that stuff. Being deranged is not a rare thing, but the way they killed other soldiers and the way they committed suicide was very special. One doctor became curious of their cases and studied those soldiers. That's when they found out that this was a special syndrome only found in Hinamizawa. According to this doctor, their strange behavior was not coming from their culture. It was a mental disease triggered by external circumstances. An externally caused mental disease is different from a psychological illness. Yes. It's a type of disease caused by some kind of physical disorder. It causes people to become mentally unstable when something triggers it. This is what I wanted. There are 3 categories of externally caused mental diseases. They're internal, poisonous, and symptomatic. Symptomatic. Oh, God. Oh, I wish I could read. The internal type is when the brain is damaged. It causes the mental dysfunction, like when you get a concussion. Or, you get a really bad injury to your head and then you can't remember stuff. People's personalities can change by injuring their brain. Well, that too. The poisonous type is literally caused by something poisonous, such as drugs and alcohol. That's true. Sometimes there have been cases where people have taken drugs when at a very young age and it has actually caused changes in their mental psyche. Don't do drugs, kids. The last category is symptomatic. This is a disease where the body secretes an unusual chemical due to some illness, and that causes people to have mental disorders. It may sound weird, but it's been said that people tend to get depressed when they have a cold. We all know that physical sickness can cause negative emotions in people's minds. However, in the case of symptomatic type, it's more extreme. People's emotions are not created inside the heart. They're created by the chemicals secreted from our internal organs. When those internal organs get sick, very unusual chemicals can be secreted. It's known that the thyroid gland secretes hormone that controls people's emotions. I wouldn't say controls. When the thyroid gland is defective, the hormone balance becomes unstable and people get sick. It can cause people to have not only a physical sickness, but also a mental sickness such as depression. People don't get mentally sick just because of mental problems, obviously. Humans are made out of flesh. We get mentally sick when our flesh is defective. The doctor also came up with a theory. There's a climatic disease in Hinamizawa, and if people get too far from home, it affects their hormones and they start to hallucinate. Climactic disease. The only problem if it's affected by the climate is that there's other places in the world that have very similar, if not identical, climate, most likely. I don't think there's very, very many places. I think there's only a couple places that have identical or have completely unique climates that are never replicated anywhere. The villagers' faith toward Oyashiro-sama is certainly related to this climatic disease. People in Onagafuchi knew about this syndrome. Oh, I thought he meant literally climate. They knew that they couldn't survive outside the village. They also didn't want anyone else to come inside the village because they would be infected too. So is it in the air? How does the disease spread then? They took this syndrome as a curse, not a sickness. The most important characteristic of this disease is an extreme persecution complex and antisocial behavior. Hey! I was saying that's what a lot of people had. I didn't say it was a disease, but it's what they had. Not terrible. The suicide caused by the defect in the lymph node is also a particular characteristic. The unusual behavior of the terminal patients is related to the legend of the demons coming out from the swamp and attacking the villagers. Basically, the sick villagers had a severe persecution complex and wound up killing the other villagers. After a long time, survivors in the village started understanding the rules of their disease. They found out that this disease is incurable once you contract it. That's why people stopped letting outsiders into the village. Also, once you become ill, you will develop a severe persecution complex. This can happen to anyone in the village. So I assume Mion isn't infected. I assume she's completely in the clear and doesn't have it. Shion has it, Rena has it, and somehow Keiichi contracted it. The doctrine of Oyashiro-sama says that the blood of humans and demons is mixed together, and that Oyashiro-sama is controlling the violent blood of the demons. People said that you'd be cursed if you didn't follow Oyashiro-sama's rules. So by following the rules, they could cope with this climatic disease. Then Oyashiro-sama came and unified the humans and the demons, just like in the legend. Moreover, the most important thing, that's how to keep the disease under control. This related to taboos in this village. The horrible traditions in the village were probably performed in order to force people to respect these taboos. There's several ways to keep the disease under control, but there are two main conditions. The first one is suspicion. When people suspect someone, it can trigger the persecution complex, and it can lead them to have terminal symptoms. That's why the villagers made sure to have a strong community so people wouldn't suspect each other. Oyashiro-sama is known for her horrific reputation, but she's also known as a god of marriage and friendship. However, this condition is not as dramatic as the other condition. In fact, this tradition is not practiced strictly in Hinamizawa anymore. It's only recognized in Hirasaka town in Okonomiya. Now for the other condition. This one is more clear and it was practiced more strictly. If the villagers leave the village, they will get ill quickly, proportionally to the distance from the village. The villagers nowadays will not get sick rapidly, even if they go out of town or out of the country for a long time. However, back in the day, they would get sick very quickly as soon as they left the village. It's very unfortunate that Keiichi got infected so soon after he moved to the village. It was also very unfortunate that he got sick just because he left the village for a few days to go to his relative's funeral in that one world. That's why Hanyu felt so bad for him in that world and kept on apologizing to him. That's the first one. Okay, that's the first one. Okay. So he doesn't always get infected, he just got infected in that world for some reason. And, oh my god. So he left the village just for a couple days. Oh, that sucks. That does suck. And that's why he kept hearing, apologies, all that. No matter how much he apologized, he didn't hear her though. Anyway, these rules are the wisdom of old people. People created in the curse of Oyashiro-sama in order to cope with the Hinamizawa syndrome. Is there any way to use this externally caused mental disease for military purposes? Oh god. Weaponize it. The aforementioned doctor insisted there was, but the military didn't listen to him at the time. They were interested in developing a weapon that could make a dramatic change to the war situation. They didn't have any money to spare for the research of this strange disease. Sorry, you couldn't weaponize your special disease to be able to wipe out the Americans. I'm sorry. Sucks, he still lost. They were not going to do further study of the Hinamizawa syndrome. Then the war ended. Japan started its reconstruction under American leadership. However, some powerful people in the political world didn't want to accept the American way of thinking. Of course not. Even though it did help, whatever. I don't want to get into the American Reconstruction, how people feel, how people don't feel towards it. It's like, you gotta believe that it's like, it's net benefit, I guess. They do pretty well now. Some of them were fired by the GHQ, but they still stayed as advisors to the government, since Japan has a culture of respecting the elderly. Eventually, a political society was formed, the object of which was to get Japan back to where it was before the war. In the beginning, the society was a very small group. It was only a small meeting of 2 or 3 people. However, that small meeting eventually grew to a larger group. That larger group started expanding to become a big organization. Then that organization became a political society. It's actually better to call them a secret society. This secret society eventually came to be called by the name of the place where it was based, Tokyo. Wow, that's terrible. God, that's nice and confusing. Tokyo is full of mysteries. One thing I know for sure is that it's formed by the old people of Japanese political society, and they have strong political influence and financial power that can change the government. They're also connected to various businesses, and they're plotting to take Japan back to where it was before the war. Yeah, I don't think that's a good idea. I'm sorry, I don't think that's a good idea. I think it's better off now than it was back then. Hate to say that to you old people. This is a ridiculous story. This is just a story from way back, when the war ended. When Japan started reconstruction, Tokyo eventually became a mere name. However, some of them remained. Japan regained its peace, and years passed after the war. However, some people still continued to believe that pre-war Japan was better, and they were determined to get it back. Everyone always says the past is better, even though I'm going to say the future is always going to be better. Not always. Not always. Right now, the world's better. I have it better off in this set of society than any other society in the previous years. Any others. This is when just you can do anything and everything you really want to do, except anything against the law. And it's amazing. And I wouldn't trade this for anything, unless it's in the future where things are even cooler. Tokyo was plotting from several directions to bring the old Japan back. They approached the problem economically, internationally, and through the military too. Japan has no nuclear armament due to the 3 non-nuclear principles. That means this country has to brown-nose America as long as they hold nuclear weapons. The number one priority of Tokyo is to be independent from America. They want this country to be on equal footing with America, and obtain a weapon of mass destruction other than a nuclear weapon. Thanks, God, fucking biological warfare. Jesus Christ. I'm sorry, but nukes are a lot better than biological warfare. When you're talking about getting diseases to whole swaths of people, that's where it gets really bad. Because then there's like no way to actually stop, like limit the devastation. Because that can wipe countries, whole countries. One bomb's not going to level an entire country. Like biological weapons and weaponized diseases, that can level nations. Plural, not just one. It can just continents gone, depending on how deadly it is. It's terrible. That's fucking terrible. God, I hope they die. I hope they don't succeed in this.